Kick-Ass Switch, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you're watching another episode of Every Which Way, this time featuring Suzanne Michelle of Revive with Energy. And what's really cool about Suzanne is that she talks about how your intuition lives in the energetic field of your heart and how you can get in touch with that. And for you crystal lovers out there, you're really going to enjoy this because we get into how we have a crystalline structure throughout our body that is conducive to energy. And I was really excited to get to talk about that with Suzanne. And we talk about how to get in touch with your intuition and let your heart guide your life as opposed to your head. It's a really cool interview, and I think you're really going to dig it. So here she is, Suzanne Michelle. Hi, Suzanne. Welcome to Every Which Way.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going very well. How's it going in your world?
It's great. I just got back from a trip in Mexico, so I'm kind of running off of an exhilarated high from all the interesting people that I met, and so I'm just still running off that high. So if I'm a little zzz, that's why.
You're always a little zzz. You're the Revive with Energy lady.
Yes.
What were you doing in Mexico? Was it for energy work or intuition, or is it just a vacation?
Yeah, it was my second annual Awesomeness Fest. It's a group of about 200 plus entrepreneurs who are making a difference in the world. And so we go to a selected place. This year it was in Mexico. And we basically get to collaborate, do workshops, connect, listen to speakers. It's absolutely exhilarating. So that's where I was. And then I spent an extra week on either end. So I was there for a week prior, going on some just excursions, like seeing the Chichen Itza and Tulum, and just kind of connecting with the Mayan culture.
Oh, how fun and interesting and awesome. I've never heard of the Awesome Fest.
Yes. You can go to awesomeness, NESS, fest.com.
Oh, cool. Love it. Well, let's tell people a little bit about what makes you awesome and what you're doing with Revive with Energy, which is your website, and the Revive Tribe. Revive Tribe is at youtube.com, and that is your video show that you do that kind of ties into your website. So what is that all about?
Yeah, so Revive with Energy is basically right now we are being bombarded with information, and we need a way to navigate through all this information. And I use the tool that we already have that's innately a tool that's inside of us, which is our intuition. It's our internal GPS system. And when we use our intuition to navigate through all this information that's traveling at lightning speed, such as the internet, problems at home, work situations, relationship situations, your intuition can help you to navigate and cut through all of the extraneous information and use your own inner guidance system to make decisions in your life. So when we do that, we gain energy. When we use our intuition, we gain energy. So that's how Revive with Energy came about. My YouTube videos were mostly for me to just get myself out there and get through my fear of being seen. That's always a scary thing. So I used my YouTube videos mostly for me, and now they've kind of gained momentum because there's some really good information and applicable information on my videos.
There is. I love that you have that series called Shower Something Aha Moments. Morning Shower Aha Moments. That's what it is. Because we all have those aha moments in the shower. And you did one video in particular that I love about how we are basically crystals. And you talk about how the fascia, which is, you can explain it better, I'm sure, than I can, but you talk about how that's crystalline energy throughout us and how water can be a conductor. Can you just touch on that a little bit? Because I think my audience, a lot of us are crystal lovers, so I think they'll really enjoy hearing about that.
Yeah, so I have one point to make about that, and my engineer husband brought it to my attention that we are not crystals because we are not frozen water.
Okay.
Which is true. Technically speaking, in order for for water to become a crystal, it has to be frozen. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we're human and we're not frozen, but we are comprised of 80% water, and water is a superconductor. And all of the fascia that surrounds the muscles and tendons and ligaments in your body is made of a crystalline matrix. And that crystalline matrix sends and receives information faster than any part of our body. So that's why when we're using our intuition, we get a feeling first. Mm-hmm. We get a physiological feeling. And that's because of the information that's coming in is being received from that crystalline body that we are, that fascia, that also is conducting all of that energy via our water. So, you know, a scientist can probably explain it better. I do have a background in body work. I have been a certified and licensed massage therapist for the last 9 years. And so I know the body pretty well on the energetic level.
Yeah.
But maybe the scientific data, I'm not too versed in. So
it's a great metaphor nonetheless. And I believe, I don't know, as above, so below, and that we're all microcosms of the macrocosm. So it would make sense that we have qualities that are at least similar to being crystals or having a crystalline structure, and that we can conduct energy that way. Is that how you got into energy work, is by first taking a physical approach to body work?
Yeah, I really went, because I came from a background in electronics. That's my schooling. That's my academic background. And I worked for a semiconductor company for 10 years. And I was basically a glorified electrician. And so I used to fix big, huge machinery. And interestingly enough, I would work with quartz crystal because it is a conductor for, without going into it. Basically, I learned a lot in that world, and then when I bridged into the world of the healing arts, I realized how similar these big machines were to our bodies. And I think a lot of the engineering that went into these machines came from how our bodies work. You know, the plumbing system, mm-hmm. the electrical system, just everything. I think it's based off of our bodies.
Okay, everybody, we've been having some technical glitches, so Suzanne just took me on a little walk through her property to another part of her home where it's less windy, so hopefully we won't have any more Skype glitches. And we were talking about technology during that time, so why don't we just open that up for the audience too and talk about how amazing technology is. You were talking about engineering and how our bodies are so much like that. Do you want to talk a little bit about the shift that's going on, that people say is going on, and what your interpretation of that is, and if technology is playing into that?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that, obviously, I don't even believe, I know we're in a shift. We are in a transformational time that is bridging so many different timelines, like the old way of doing things, the new way of doing things, ancient history, future technology. It's almost like we're at this convergence, and so we're all trying to find our way at this point in time. So we've got religious people talking about their end of the world. You've got the New Age people talking about their new end of the world. And then you've got people like myself that are like, heck no, this is not the end of the world. This is the beginning of such a new ideas, new timelines. And when I say timelines, what I mean by that is that we actually get to create new. For so long, we've been using, I believe, the consciousness that's been holding all the information that we've kind of been tapping into, whereas now we're in this interesting time where we're able to create something completely new because we are now designing our future. There's not a predestined, I don't know how to say it. It just doesn't feel like a predestined outcome. It feels like each one of us are awakening to our infinite possibility, which means that we get to create new endings to stories. Whereas it seems like for so long we've been repeating patterns and we've been, repeating history.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does, and I like that approach. I made a video that some people did not like from my other channel called something about the ascension myth, and I wasn't really suggesting that there is not a shift taking place. I was more just commenting on how some people interpret that in a kind of end of the world. This has all been prophesized, and if you don't ascend, you're going to be left behind, or something bad's going to be happening to you. And I don't believe that. But I do, obviously. I mean, technology has brought us all so close together and has spread, these ideas so quickly that many of us are waking up to our own spirituality and inspiring each other with our ideas. And so I definitely can see a shift taking place in that aspect of it. I just don't really buy into the Mayan calendar gloom and doom that it's all going to end. And I also subscribe to the fact that all endings are beginnings. So even if it doesn't, we've got a new beginning on our hands.
It feels so new beginning to me. It feels people, like I watch specifically people in my own family, just having different ideas that I thought, oh my gosh, they would never have thought these ideas 10 years ago because they were stuck in their cycle. Whereas this shift is promoting people to kind of bubble up to their true surface, whatever that might be. Mm-hmm. So they're questioning even their old beliefs. And in doing that, that is a shift. That is a shift in consciousness. So I don't think December 22nd is going to come.
It's happening, people. Or maybe not, but we'll be somewhere else, so I guess it won't be a thing at that point.
Absolutely. and at that point you can call me a liar, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tie this back into intuition, because that seems like to be, you actually kind of answered my question, because that seems to be the heart of what you're talking about through your work. Even though it's called Revive with Energy, you're saying that by getting in touch with your intuition, you are reviving yourself with energy. So I think that's fascinating. I haven't heard someone say that before. What are some ways that we can get in touch with our intuition, or what's your favorite way?
Well, you said the word, and the word was heart.
Mm-hmm.
Intuition is in the energy of the heart, not the organ. A lot of people want to believe that the intuition is in the head, is in the third eye. And while we need clarity to be able to see the vision of our intuition, where it comes from initially is from the heart space energy. And also, I want to give you a little bit of my own theory about intuition. People think intuition is only reserved for a few people, and that's totally incorrect. Every single person is an intuitive. And also, there's another myth that says women are more intuitive than men, and that is a myth. And that's a myth because it's not that women are more intuitive or men are less intuitive. It's just that anybody, man or woman, who leads with their head space can deny their intuition more. So if I'm a woman who leads with my head space and I'm more head, I have more thoughts, I'm more mind driven, I will be able to deny my intuition better than a woman who leads from her heart space and goes off of feelings and I'm not even going to say emotions, I'm going to say feelings, because feelings and emotions are totally different. So those are the two myths that I want to just kind of get it off the table, okay? We're all highly intuitive. The bigger question is not how can I tap into my intuition, but how can I stop denying my intuition? So how can I play with the resistance of my intuition and really get to the heart of my intuition? And then I want to tie that into what you said, the word, which is heart. I don't know if you've seen the TED Talk by, I believe her name is Brené Brown, and she talks about vulnerability and heart and courage. And cur is the Latin derivative of courage, of the heart. I might be saying that incorrectly, but you get the gist of it, right?
Yes.
Courage comes from heart. It comes from the vulnerability of the unknown, which is specifically intuition, is walking little step-by-steps, not knowing where you're really going because the data isn't there, but it feels right. So when you ask the question, how do we get in touch with our intuition, we need to start moving into the heart-centered consciousness of our lives. So we start navigating by, simple steps like you go to the grocery store. What do I feel like eating today? Instead of, oh, I know that I usually get chicken and whatever. That's in my head. That's the list that's in my head. But what feels good to me today? Maybe apples feel good to me today, so I'm going to go buy apples. I don't know why, but I realize, oh my gosh, later on I might realize it was really good that I had apples because for whatever reason I needed to have more sugar today or something. But you don't really, I know that's a really convoluted example, but we don't need to know why we're moving forward with our heart and with our feelings, but we need to be able to trust that. And in the end, at the end result, we'll be able to, this is so difficult for me to explain.
No, I'm with you. I'm understanding you. You know what? It reminds me a lot of mystery traditions and just spiritual traditions where they will take an initiate and blindfold them and make them go through a course or spin them around. And I just think that's so symbolic of stepping into the unknown and using your intuition and your feeling and your heart to guide you. And I like also the way you talk about getting to the heart of the matter, which we've all heard, or getting to the heart of things. It really is always there. It's there. We just cover it up with, we protect it. We protect our heart with so many layers, but eventually we protect it so much that we can't hear its voice anymore and we can't hear its messages. So it kind of gives new meaning to getting to the heart of it, really.
Yes. Do you know Carolyn Mace?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I was just reading some Carolyn this morning.
I'm in love with her, and
Yeah.
I've been in love with her for years, and I love just her work. And what she always says is humans are so in love with reason. We have to give reason to everything, and we're so in love with our mind. And I love my mind so long as it's the servant to my heart. And if my mind is dragging around my heart, I'm usually miserable. But if my heart is tapping into my brain and saying, okay, follow your heart, and now let's take action with your head, because we need to have action steps. And the heart doesn't really have action steps. The heart usually just has like, oh, go here, go there, listen to this. Did you hear that? Whereas my head is like, okay, now let's take that information and put it into action. So that's love bridging the gap with my clients. You don't have to be all mushy-gushy, heart-centered consciousness and forget about your brain, because that's, oh my gosh, no, 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 no. We want to bridge that gap, because right now some of us are only navigating our lives from one area of our body, our head space, our driven navigational system, like reason, logic, and we're leaving out the heart because we don't trust the heart. We think, oh, the heart gets us into trouble. It gets us all emotional. So it's not like that at all. You can have what were you going to say?
Let's break this down for someone. Let's say I'm a very linear thinking, masculine person. Whether I'm a man or a woman, I live up in my head. I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean, my feelings, my heart center? Like, what are you talking about, woman? Like, how would that speak to me? Would it be an upset stomach? Would it be an urge or a craving? Like, can you explain that better outside the realm of food? Like, let's just say in terms of your relationships or your careers. How would your heart speak to you as opposed to your head?
Yeah. So what you're talking about are body sensations.
Mm-hmm.
A lot with body sensations, because all we have is this vessel. When we're navigating in the world, all we have is our body. You take your body to the store, you take your body to work, you have your body at home. Your body is going with you everywhere. So that's that crystalline body that you're taking everywhere. So when you're in a situation where you're in a business meeting and somebody says something, say you work for Chevron, and they say, we're going to rule the world by drilling in more areas on Earth, and all of a sudden your stomach goes, and it's active. If you're self-aware, if you know your body sensations, you have just proved to yourself that that does not resonate. And you have set something in motion in your body that is dissonant to what that person said. That's your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody just punched you in the stomach, but it sure feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else in the room might not be affected at all because their intuition is such that it doesn't affect them. So, or maybe it does, and then they've just denied it. Who knows, right? But that's a body sensation. You might be like how we connected, you and I, Joanna. I mean, it was like I loved your videos, and I commented, and I just said, oh my gosh, you make me laugh so hard. And just through that, something happened with you. There was a chemistry,
mm-hmm.
and let's do an interview. So we were going on intuition. We were going on what felt right. We didn't even know each other.
Yeah, totally.
We didn't know anything but this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Body gives us signals, whether we want to acknowledge them or not. So my first step with people that are super high in their mental faculties, we go right to the body and we start feeling what certain feelings feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And certain, for them specifically, because it's so different. I try to use things that relate to them. Like if they like baseball, we'll do like, how does it feel to swing, a bat, and they go through that motion, because you don't think I'm going to swing a bat, you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Doing things.
And if you think about doing it, you don't do it well.
Right. But if you have, and then you use your mind to visualize doing it better, then co-op with your mind and really skyrocket. That's why the mind is so powerful with the heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that you use the baseball analogy too, because I'm trying to make this connection for people who have a very masculine approach. I think people that talk the way we do sometimes, we seem so airy-fairy and out there, and It's nice to bring it into a practical language that other people can understand, because this is something that can work for everyone. Even somebody working on Wall Street whose focus is making a lot of money. Learning to tap into that intuition can guide you in all areas of your life.
You know, my stepdad, he's an owner of racehorses, and that's passions. That's one of his many passions. But I watched him we've gone to Hollywood Park, and I've watched him, and whenever he knows that's going to happen, he gets almost a racehorse, right? And he gets body sensation, and I know that he's just gotten an intuition that something's going to happen, and then he'll go and he'll talk to it. My point is he has a body sensation, and he's very mental. He's super mental. Like he talks in, he doesn't talk about his feelings at all. But when he's in that excites, his body does a movement. And I think every single person can relate to that, because it just doesn't move, right? We're not robots. So if everybody, even if they don't feel like they're in their heart-centered consciousness, if they can just pick one thing that they're excited about and recognize that they do have body sensations related to that thing that they love.
Yeah. And how can you explain how that gives you energy?
It gives you energy because when we're denying, when we're resisting our body sensations, we actually either get like emotionally constipated, or we leak energy in that we give. Okay, this is going to be, thank you for asking. This is going to be really difficult. When you're courageous enough to have body sensations, it puts you in a really vulnerable position if you're not used to it. But what you'll realize is you'll be losing the resistance to your body sensations. When you have resistance in your body, you lose energy. You get tired. You just think about when you're talking to somebody and you're really excited talking about this particular thing. Say it's a relationship. This happens. Say you're talking to your spouse or your girlfriend or your best friend, and you're really excited about something, and you start seeing their eyes glaze over.
Mm-hmm.
When their eyes glaze over, it's because there's either too much information that's coming in that they can't relate to, and so they start to resist it.
Mm-hmm.
Resist, they lose energy, and they get tired, and they start yawning. They lose literal energy. So, resistance is a big thing here. If I'm talking to if somebody's talking to me and I'm not really interested and I'm starting to feel myself glaze over, I'll then start to become empathetic to them and go, wow, they're really, really interested in this subject. And I start going into them and I don't focus on me. And I open up my heart and I become vulnerable to what they're sharing with me. All of a sudden I get a burst of energy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. And I think it's an effort to have resistance to something too. It takes effort to resist. And letting go, and opening yourself up, that's just going to allow, especially if we're talking about us as being conductors, it's going to allow the energy to flow through instead of siphoning it off with your resistance. So yeah, I completely get that.
And that takes a level of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
That we have to be aware. We have to be aware that we are getting tired or we are losing energy when we're around certain people. And sometimes it's a great indicator when we're getting really, down on energy. Maybe I shouldn't be hanging out with this person. I could be that indicator. Or it could be an indicator of, wow, I need to be able to see past my nose and look at what they're telling me. And maybe I'm just resisting it. And so I'm using this mechanism of getting tired is a way to assess what maybe I really need to be listening to. So you have to become really aware of what your motives are when you're interacting, like in this type of situation.
Yeah. One of my first lessons in listening to my body was with a friend we were both very into self-development and self-help and spirituality, but every single time I was around her, I got these intense stomach aches. And mentally, I'd be thinking, she's really like undermining me and being very passive aggressive. And then I would kind of think to myself, no, she's not doing that on purpose. But ultimately what made me finally just be able to gently leave the relationship was these stomach aches that I always, really intense stomach aches. And she started getting them too. We both started getting them every time we were together. So it was an early lesson, I guess, in listening to my body. Because my mind I would have argued with myself about that forever. But listening to my body finally was like, yeah, get out of there. She's literally making you feel sick. And it worked.
I help people to become their own medical intuitives. I studied under Dr. Mona Lisa Schultz, and I went to her workshops and got certified in medical intuition, and this was years ago. And I help, because when people would come to me and say, okay, what is my body telling me? And I felt like, wait a minute, I don't want to be a psychic or an intuitive or I want people to be their own psychics, to be their own intuitives, to be their own medical intuitives. So what you just told me is you medically intuited what you were experiencing and then took action on that. Like, hallelujah, right?
Yes. I love that you teach people to do that too.
It's really powerful.
Yeah, it's about empowering other people to be their own to be their own guidance system and to listen to their GPS unit, as you called it. I think that that's a great gift you're giving people. That way, they don't feel that they have to look outside themselves. They don't have to call that 900 hotline to check in with themselves to see how things are going. They can do it with themselves, for themselves. So I think it's great. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn how to do more of this work and to get more in touch with their intuition?
Yeah, so I have a website, and it's revivewithenergy.com. Mm-hmm. You'll probably post a link or something.
Always.
And I want to make a comment about what I said at the beginning when we were talking about the end of the world. And I was saying that we're now able to create our new endings. Mm-hmm. You had just said something about, about being your own guru, mm-hmm. right? The days of going outside of ourselves are over. People, it's over. No one's going to save us. No one's going to save us. No fairy godmother is going to pluck us out of the situation. Well, maybe. I shouldn't say that. But my point is that we are our own gurus, and we have all the information, and it doesn't take a lot. And where we are right now, things are happening so fast, we can change our energy so quickly that we don't need to wait years and years and years to make real solid transformational change in our lives so that we can have the success that we want. Mm-hmm. We can do it right now. And the best way to do it is via energy. Because energy, as soon as you tap into your own energy, your own natural energy resource, which is your intuition, which has answers, you can make change like lightning speed. You can change your course of direction. And also, what I teach is how to ground it so that, okay, say you want to make a change like with your career. What if you could change your energy in your career and not have to make a tangible change? Mm-hmm. Change your energy in your career and your whole world just opens up. I mean, that's a possibility. Everybody thinks so linearly, like, oh, I gotta quit my job, or I gotta, divorce, or I gotta do, these dramatic things right now, because you see a lot of that going on, right? Mm-hmm. And while a lot of people may need to do that, you don't always have to do that. So that's I really, sometimes people are scared, like, oh, I don't want to listen to my intuition because then my intuition is going to tell me to do things I don't want to do. It's not that, it's not like that. It's more fun than that.
Yeah, and you can show up differently where you are. You can show up differently in the same marriage and completely change that marriage without changing your marriage partner. Or I get what you're saying. You don't have to quit your job. You can show up tomorrow with a different headspace or heart space and have a completely different experience of the same job.
Yes, and what I've seen with my clients that do that, really are meant to lose that job, they will. And what's so great is they'll be at such a high level of energy that whatever they're going to transfer into, it'll be a seamless transition.
Yes, more gentle.
And what we want is, we don't want to be slamming doors to things, because as soon as we slam doors, we're just walking into a new situation that's going to teach us the same thing from what was on the other side of that door.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Really want to shift our energy using our intuition to a place where when we do need to make those changes, it'll just be more seamless. And that's what I like. It easy. I like it fun. I like it, yes, it can be easy. It can be easy. How about that?
I love it. Great. So if I go to your website and I want to work with you, in what capacity are you working with people? Are you leading groups? Are you doing one-on-one coaching? What will happen to me if I go look you up to get some work done here and to get in touch with my intuition?
Yeah, we'll be working one-on-one. And not living where I live, we'll do interactions like this, like on Skype or on the phone. If you are in my area, you're going to be in my office, and we're going to have more of a physical connection. But there's so much you can do with technology, which I'm learning, and I'm wholeheartly in this work because it's what I am. It's who I am. It's my passions. So I'm showing up for you. And on that webpage, you can go to Work With Me. There's tab up at the top, and if you want to ask me any kind of question before you commit to working with me, I've got my personal email on there, and I will chat with you on email. If you want to set up a phone call and just a consult, we can do that too. So.
Perfect. Well, before I let you go, you have to answer one more question. What is your best tip for living a kick-ass life?
My best tip for living a kick-ass life is to be able to lose resistance. Lose resistance in life. When you go to a party, lose the resistance that you're not going to meet fun people. Know that you're going to meet fun people, and show up knowing that you're going to meet fun people. Lose resistance on if you have a dream and you think of all the reasons why this dream won't come about. Learn how to lose that resistance, because as soon as you lose resistance to life shows up for you.
Awesome. Super kick-ass. I love it. Thank you so much, Suzanne.
Thank you. You're awesome, Joanna.
Mutual. Much love. Peace.
Peace.